I'm Chance.
And I'm Sarah Kathryn.
And this is Conservation Connection,
presented by Last Chance Endeavors.
We are a husband and wife team running a wildlife education nonprofit. It's focused on connecting students to their environment.
Each week, here on Conservation Connection, we do just that by introducing you to the groundbreaking science and conservation work that's happening every day across the globe.
We talk to professionals in the world of conservation science and wildlife management, and we ask them about their career,
their current projects,
their wild and crazy stories from the field,
and everything in between.
This episode is a collaboration with EarthX here in Dallas, Texas.
EarthX is the largest Earth Day celebration in the world, and it brings in speakers from every corner of the environmental arena.
Listen in to hear the stories of today's environmental titans, covering everything from environmental law, ocean health, renewable energy, clean transportation, and so much more.
Let's get to the show.
Alrighty guys, today we are so excited because we are here at EarthX in Dallas. We're sitting down with Stephen Kaufman and Casey Hoffman to talk about kind of what EarthX is and what amazing things are going to be happening this weekend.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's so great to be here.
So excited right now, guys.
We're so excited to have you. Why don't we start with Casey? Could you tell us how exactly you came to being with EarthX?
So I actually have a great story. I started out as a volunteer last year. On Saturday, I came and volunteered with EarthX Film, watched a great movie, saw Paul Watson speak afterwards, and was completely hooked. Cinderella story later. Now I work here.
That's awesome.
It's always great when you get to experience something and be like, I want to be a part of that. And all the doors open and it works out for you. That's so great. So Stephen, can you just give me a snapshot? What is EarthX? Where are we? What are we doing?
So EarthX has a great story and a history that dates back about 10 years ago in Dallas when our founder and visionary, Trammell S. Crow, came out from lunch in the downtown Dallas Arts District, and there was a street fair going on. And it was Earth Day Dallas. It was being put on by the city of Dallas in coordination with the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. Trammell, being gregarious and charismatic, talked to all of the exhibitors and really got inspired to want to do this on his own. And so he went to the city, went to the EPA and said, I want to take this over and make this a big event for Dallas, and had a tremendous vision. And from there, our first event was 2011. And since then, we've grown from about 400 exhibitors and 45,000 people to where we are today. Last year, we brought in nearly 700 exhibitors and over 137,000 people over the course of the weekend in EarthX last year.
That's really cool.
That's absolutely incredible. You said 130,000 attendees?
That's right.
That's a small city. That's really, really impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. When EarthX was founded, when he was like, let's get this going, let's get together, how many people were employed then? How many people did you start with, and where are you now?
It started as a 3-ring circus, and now we've grown to where we have close to 40 full-time and a number of different contractors employed around the year putting this event on, and not just once a year at EarthX, but really starting to develop year-round programming so that we can make a difference throughout the year. Because to make a difference, you can't just do it over the course of one weekend. It's got to be done year-round.
Absolutely. That one weekend can build a lot of momentum, but it's all about leveraging that momentum to sustain it throughout the year so that, you're not losing what you've gained in that one big event. That's awesome. So EarthX is is it a 5-day event? Is that what it is?
Yeah, today is one of the first days where we have a conference starting. Future 500 Summit starts tonight, and then it kind of rolls into a lot of different conferences throughout this week and then rolls on into the weekend. EarthX Film Festival actually started last weekend, April 19th. So they show movies all throughout the week up until this weekend.
And they're all environmentally themed, just kind of different arenas?
Yeah, so we have about 70 different films, all the way from environmental documentaries, short films, all kinds of cinematic enjoyment based around environmental causes.
So, as you know, we found out about EarthX probably 3 weeks ago, maybe, and reached out to you guys to do this podcast with some of your speakers here. And when I found out about you guys, I went to your website and I was like, whoa, this is a lot. I just need to call someone and like get them to walk me through this. So I noticed that there's the EarthX overarching kind of conference, and then there's a ton of other conferences within it. And I know that y'all oversee some of those areas.
There's so many different initiatives that EarthX has, and the X is the multiplier. EarthX Oceans, EarthX Energy, EarthX EDU, EarthX Film, all the different initiatives that we have. And they all are aimed to reach a different audience and bring in different communities into the conversation. My area of focus is EarthX Energy. Within EarthX Energy, we have, I'd say, two areas of focus. One is the transportation industry, and one is the energy industry as a whole, which, as you guys know, the energy industry is a behemoth. But we have a conference aimed at bringing all different stakeholders from energy together to talk about what each sector is doing within energy to be more conservation-minded and environmentally friendly. We don't shy away from bringing in oil and gas companies and renewable energy companies to talk about where there's opportunity to partner and where there's opportunity to make progress on energy efficiency.
I think that's one of the things that I really am impressed with this whole operation is that it's so multifaceted, and that is the key to solving today's environmental issues, is that you can't just be somebody working in the oil industry or somebody working with ocean plastics. More and more, we're seeing that everything is integrated and you can't solve one problem without touching on another. So to have an event like this, where you're bringing in experts from basically every corner of the globe and every different part of this environmental arena is a really, really powerful thing. And not only for the public to get to hear from so many different groups, but for the experts in each of those fields to be able to network with one another and really take some concrete steps to solve some of the most pressing problems that we've got going on today.
Yeah, one thing I will say is that EarthX has really created a playing field where we kind of operate as that space in between that bridges the partisan divide. And what we found out is that when you establish common ground, that's where trust can be built and conflict really resolved.
Absolutely. As human beings, we're very tribal creatures. It's us versus them so often. And so when you approach a problem, so many people go, well, we have to change these people's ideas. But if you've got somebody like EarthX that is providing a level playing field for all the different groups to come together and discuss without hostility and in a real cooperative mindset, that's a really great way to set the stage for people to get some cooperation going.
I completely agree. For me, one of the things that I think about when I think of EarthX is we tackle really difficult environmental issues, and the only way to create action after these conferences is to engage every single stakeholder involved. So we have academic people come out, we have cities, we have corporations, government. I mean, it's massive.
It absolutely is.
Yeah, we definitely noticed that as we were going through the list to build our speaker list. We were like, oh man, this person works here. We really wanted to hit that broad scope. So with this podcast series at EarthX, I think we're kind of going to show off that scope. Casey, can you tell us some more about what exactly you do with EarthX?
Yeah, of course. So I handle EarthX Ocean, like I was just saying about so many stakeholders being involved. In order to tackle ocean-related issues, you have to have those same stakeholders involved. And so we actually are going to be hosting two different sub-events for EarthX Ocean. One is the Inland Ocean Action Summit to make people aware in areas that don't touch the ocean, like Dallas, that the things that they do, their plastic consumption, their water systems, they are starting to understand that the ocean is not in good health. And it takes people in Colorado, like the Inland Ocean Coalition, to stand up for the ocean and have a voice for the ocean there. So that's just one of the grassroots movements that is happening at EarthX. Another EarthX Ocean conference that we will be hosting will be the Island Resilience Forum. And that is going to be so amazing. We're going to have a couple of UN island ambassadors come in from 6 different countries to represent those nations. And they're really going to touch on island resilience and what their countries are going through during this climate. So it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say I am really impressed. This is kind of the first time that I've seen a big movement from inland people caring about the ocean. So often we think of ocean issues as coastal issues. If you live by the water, then it affects you. If you don't, well, doesn't matter. But that's absolutely not the case. We've got one world ocean, and it's affected by every human being on the planet. We're all part of one connected system. And so whether it has to do with carbon emission or global warming or all of these other issues, they're all tied together and they all affect the ocean regardless of where you are. I mean, here in Dallas, Texas is part of the Gulf Coast. Every season, you get a massive algal bloom in the Gulf because of the outflow of the Mississippi River, because there's so much agriculture that's on the banks of the Mississippi River. All of those fertilizers run off and provide a great environment for algae to grow and then die and take all of the oxygen out of the water and make it a really poor environment for animals and other organisms out in the ocean. So that's a huge ocean issue that is directly contributed to by inland people. Having a place together where people who don't live by the ocean have a sense to say, hey, even though I don't live on the beach, it still affects me and I still affect it. That's a really, really powerful movement.
Yeah, and as we've started Last Chance Endeavors and Conservation Connection, we've had some questions from people just being like, well, I don't know. Do you really think people are going to be receptive? Do you think they care that much about conservation? And I think just in the last year alone, we've seen a huge uptick in people caring and people on social media, celebrities, just everyone kind of coming out and saying like, don't use a plastic straw, like all of these kind of different things you can do to help the earth.
I think to that point, where we need help is from corporations. That one of the mottos we have at EarthX is that business drives change. When you see Fortune 500 companies want to take a stand to be more environmentally friendly, there's a trickle-down effect within that corporation, and then I think it goes so much as to trickle down to the rest of the community. And so we try to get corporations to get involved to showcase what their green story is and then inspire action from global citizens to do what they can in their own life to be better stewards of the earth and get involved and take action.
Definitely. It's one of those things where, as sad of a truth as it is, money is always going to be one of the most important drivers of people's behavior. It's just our nature. It's our resource. And so if you can make going green economically viable for a business or for a consumer, it's good for the business, it's good for the consumer, and it's good for the planet as a whole and for our health moving forward, our sustainability. So I really love that that's one of the focuses here at EarthX. Something I want to point out is kind of going back to what Casey was talking about with how EarthX Ocean has these kind of 2 points of focus that are pretty broad in scope, inland ocean and then island resistance. And EarthX Ocean is just one slice of what's happening here this weekend. What are some of the other conferences that are going on? There's EarthX Ocean.
Yeah, I guess I'll start, and then Casey, if I miss anything, because there's a lot, chime in and let me know. But some of the ones that I'm looking forward to, there's EarthX Cities, which talks about building resilient cities and smart buildings. We have EarthX Energy, which, as I said, brings in different energy stakeholders to talk about what is being done in the energy space to be more eco-friendly. We have EarthX Law, a law conference that brings attorneys from all over the state to talk about different environmental regulations and policy matters. And then one of the things I wanted to mention is EarthX Transportation. The Nature Conservancy is a well-known NGO. They've been with us since the start, since the first EarthX. And they came to us this summer and said, we want to do more. We want to put on a transportation workshop for leaders in the transportation sector to talk about what's being done in the airlines industry, what's being done in the electric vehicle industry, the rail industry to be more eco-friendly. And so we have a workshop hosted by the Nature Conservancy that brings all of the entities within transportation together to roll up the sleeves and get to work on some cross-pollination between members of the transportation sector. So we've got leaders from Toyota, from Poet, from different think tanks around the country to talk about transportation issues and how they can be better and reduce their climate impact.
That is really cool.
So I think you missed a couple,
A few.
but I won't judge you. So today, Future 500 Summit actually starts. It is this incredible collaboration between different corporate entities, foundations, very high level executives coming to discuss environmental issues. This is the kind of conference where you can have the leader of Greenpeace USA in one room and then Shell on the other side. And they both have to engage in that dialogue between the two where you normally would not see them, but that takes place here at EarthX. And then one other that I wanted to mention was eCapital Summit, which starts this week as well. Basically, it is clean tech investment, and they bring a bunch of startups and they get, what is the term?
Well, I think they've got office hours where venture capitalists and family foundations meet with clean tech startups. And we've really seen a movement in the clean tech space in the startup space. And Dallas in particular has recently brought an accelerator to the city called Capital Factory, which started in Austin. And now Capital Factory and the Dallas Entrepreneurs Club have created this fantastic co-working accelerator space. And so we'll have about 40 different clean tech startups that are looking for investment, and they'll have a great lineup of speakers, but then also be together in office hours to talk about investment opportunities for these family foundations and venture capital.
So it's kind of like a giant Shark Tank for eco-friendly startups. That's pretty cool that you're providing that venue to connect those people who need the funding to the people who are looking to invest in earth-friendly activities.
Definitely. So I know all of these separate individual conferences, those are events you can kind of pay to go to, and y'all have a ton of just open to the public stuff. Why don't we kind of hit on that, since this episode will be released during the EarthX event, and hopefully maybe some people hear it and want to come out and join us.
So the EarthX expo aspect of it with the 600 exhibitors that come out starts Friday, goes until Sunday. Friday through Saturday is going to be 10 to 6, and then on Sunday it is 10 to 5. Basically, it is a free event to the public if you pre-register online for tickets, or if you just download the mobile app and show it as you walk in. Boom, you are entered. And then if you forget to do any of those things, it's a $5 suggested donation. So it's extremely accessible. It's super family friendly. Some of the things that EarthX Ocean gets to kind of highlight at the expo is we have a scuba tank that people can actually learn how to scuba with the Go Dive Now pool.
I saw that. That's awesome.
Who's the dive agency that's running that? Do you know?
DEMA.
DEMA. Okay, awesome.
They have their own show, but they bring that out and kids love it. If the weather's nice, it's amazing. A couple of years ago, Sylvia Earle actually did it herself.
That's absolutely incredible. I love that you're providing an avenue for people to test out scuba diving. I'm actually a scuba instructor, and I have found that people who actually get into the ocean under the water and spend 20 to 30 minutes at a time underwater looking at what's going on, you're not going to love something unless you've been exposed to it. And who's been exposed to it better than scuba divers? That's nobody. So by giving people a way to try it out and say, hey, maybe I should learn how to do this. And here you've got, Flower Garden Banks that's out in the Gulf Coast here. It's salt domes that are like 60 miles offshore. And it's some of the most pristine reefs in the U.S. It's such a cool site to dive. I've never been there, but I would like to go one day. If anybody from that organization is listening, I'll do a podcast on you if you bring us out there. But yeah, that's really awesome.
They are actually going to be exhibiting at EarthX. They will be in the EarthX Ocean part of the exhibit in Centennial Hall. So you may need to talk to them.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to get me their exhibit number so that I can go talk to them in between some recordings.
I can do that. All of our exhibitors are amazing, and they span from so many different departments. In Centennial, we have oceans, wildlife, universities. Help me out here if I forget anything.
One of the things I wanted to, in Centennial, that I think is one of the most immersive experiences at EarthX is the EarthX Interactive Zone. So we will have in the Centennial building 60 different AR, augmented reality, and VR, virtual reality experiences where people will put on these goggles and swim with dolphins, dance with flamingos, scale mountains, different environmental experiences that AR and VR will take them to the environment, to the different experience, and really inspire action and inspire people to get out in nature. Like you said, Chance, when you get out and get your hands dirty in the environment, that's really where you're going to be motivated and inspired to want to preserve and protect.
100%. VR and AR provides such an incredible opportunity to get people who otherwise wouldn't be able to get to the top of the Himalayas or go out into the middle of the oceans and experience some of the stuff. It gives them an opportunity to still feel as close as possible what that's like. And experience something is the first step to conserving something. And that's an incredible opportunity that you guys are providing to people.
Like dancing with flamingos. I think that was my favorite one that you said.
I was going to say, we're probably going to get video of Sarah Kathryn doing that, and we'll put that up somewhere for everybody to watch because it's going to be incredible.
Just to jump back into the expo aspect of it as well, in the other expo hall, we have so many different things. If you want to touch base on that.
The auto building is more geared towards businesses. And so in the auto building, we'll have some of our premier sponsors like Encore and Tetra Pak and Occidental Petroleum showcasing their different environmental initiatives. And so we've got everything from consumer goods to energy to transportation. All the different businesses are set up in auto. So that will be a unique experience for consumers to meet vendors and for corporations to showcase their environmentalism and sustainability.
And then one more exhibit hall is actually food and fiber. And this is the really cool part, is that EarthX really gets the chance to highlight the different schools around DFW. And so all food and fiber is different schools. And they get the kids to kind of bring in environmentally based exhibits. So the kids get a chance to actually participate in this as well.
That's such a great opportunity to bring those students and those kids in to kind of see firsthand and experience that, especially on something this scale. Speaking of scale, how big exactly is this? I know it's in Fair Park. And how far does it span?
We take up about 500,000 square feet.
277 acres.
That's incredible.
That's a pretty big footprint. That's awesome. So basically what I'm getting from this is that there's a little bit of everything for a little bit of everybody. There's just so much stuff going on here this weekend. We're really, really excited that we're going to be able to highlight not only what's going on at EarthX, but we're going to be talking to, I think we've got 16 speakers or something lined up of podcast episodes that we're going to be releasing over the next little bit. So stay tuned for that if you're listening in. I kind of want to wrap up this episode with, do you guys have any favorite anecdotes or stories either from preparing for the event or from past events or anything like that? Anything that really surprised you or that made you fall in love with it?
Let me give you two stories real quick. Number one, this first story is great because in talks of bringing people together, we try to set up the expo hall to where difficult conversations might happen between potentially adversarial groups. And so we've got the Stonewall Democrats and the Log Cabin Republicans that both take a booth. And we always intentionally put them directly across the aisle from each other. They show up on Thursday and they can't believe it. What the heck? I'm across from the other side. This isn't going to work. They ask to be moved. We tell them no. You will need to work it out with them. And so it was so funny because then come Sunday afternoon, Trammell is walking the expo hall, meeting with everyone. And he walks by the booth, and there they are. You have the Stonewall Democrats and the Log Cabin Republicans in the middle of the aisle talking with each other. They found common ground, and it is a beautiful thing when they come together.
And that's what this is all about, is bringing people together from all different walks. Love it.
One other quick story. We've got this gentleman, Brendan Pollard, who is with the Texas Beekeepers Association. And he comes in and is bootstrapped kind of organization. And he comes out every year and dresses up like a bee. And so the kids love him. He's in his bee outfit. This guy used to be on the U.S. men's national soccer team, had a leg injury, and then is now, working with protecting the bees. So he's dressed up as a bee and just a ball of energy. But people saw his energy. And like I said, at the eCapital Summit, we've got investors and family offices walking around. They saw his busy bee energy, and they came up to him at the end of the expo and said, we want to invest in you. We believe in you. And so they saw his energy, and it came from EarthX. They basically gave him a blank check to move forward with his vision and his goals for his organization. So many great stories come out of EarthX. Those are just a couple. There's dozens more.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we cannot wait to showcase some of those stories through these next few days that we're here in Dallas. We're super excited. And thank you guys so much for being on the show with us today.
Of course. I'm excited for you guys to check out EarthX.
Yeah, Sarah, Kathryn, and I are sitting here and we're just like foaming at the mouth to get out and go see what all is going on. Again, thank you guys so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it, and we cannot wait to see what happens over the next week.
We'll see you at Fair Park.
Sounds good. Thanks for listening to this episode of Conservation Connection.
If you enjoyed our podcast, go ahead and subscribe to make sure you catch every episode that we post.
We would love to hear from you. So, if you want to reach out, go to our website, lastchanceendeavors.com/contact, and shoot us an email.
We love questions from our listeners, so if you heard something that you want to know more about, be sure to let us know.
We'll post bonus content that addresses your questions and gives you a little more information.
A big thanks to EarthX for hosting us, and a big thanks to you for listening. Don't forget to tune in next week.